Anybody out there watching this who recently has been dealing with the passing of a loved one, somebody who has experienced grief already, if it was recent or if it was a while ago, but you're still feeling those effects and that pain in your heart, to anybody who may be going through a sickness themselves or a loved one, they feel like their time is coming up, I just want this video to be for you. And I just want to help out by sharing my own story with grief and the things that have blessed me to move forward. Starting with my own story, I lost my mom September 22nd, 2023. It honestly came out of the blue. None of us saw it coming and none of us were expecting it. My mom suffered a heart attack on September 9th when she was just sitting on the couch, speaking normally. The event occurred, and about 2 weeks later, she passed away at the hospital. And I just remember kind of going through that time, the uncertainty of just, is she gonna heal? Is she gonna wake up from this? Is she gonna be all right? Or is this the last time I'll ever speak to my mom? Grief is hard. There's a lot of ups and downs that come with grief, and it can kind of get you whenever. Some days I think I'm healed, some days I think I'm just ready for everything, that those thoughts and those emotions are kind of gone, but it kind of just comes back up randomly. And August 1st this year would have been my mom's 50th birthday, and as that time draws near, I'm currently filming this on July 8th. Those emotions and that grief is starting to just sink back in. Some days I just can't do much. I just lack motivation. I feel like there's no point of going forward. But just because their life is over doesn't mean ours is. The one thing that's really kept me afloat this entire time, and he's really been carrying me from the beginning all the way to right now, is just God. And I don't say that to be preachy or anything, but I say that just to speak on his love and how much he cares for us. The word just speaks on how God draws near to the brokenhearted, and that he did. Before the passing of my mom, I was honestly just living carefree. I wasn't living for God, even though I grew up in a faith-filled household, even though I went to church and watched sermons almost every Sunday with my parents and my sister. But I knew in my heart I wasn't living for God. I was just living sinful, living youthful. A lot of people kind of think that we have time, and I know I thought that way. I thought, I'd give my life up when I'm like 30. I'm young, I'm 23 now. At the time I'm teenager, young, super beginning 20s, just living my life to the fullest, thinking, whenever I'm ready to settle down, that's when I'll give my life to God. That's when I'll start living how he wants us to live. And I'm just so grateful to God for just keeping me through that time and bringing me to a place where I never thought I could be. After graduating college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just remember opening my heart to him. I just let him come in, started praying more, I started reading more, because I know that God has given us all purpose. He put us on this earth for a reason, and I wanted to know what that reason was. I didn't want to just go through the motions and just live the standard American life of getting a degree and working until your retirement age. That wasn't the life I wanted to live. And in the midst of that time of finally opening my heart to him, everything happened with my mom. And I just remember going to the hospital every day for almost 2 weeks. My aunt had came down from her place in Nevada and was staying with my dad, my sister, and I. And I just remember every morning, before going to the hospital, how we would just pray together. We would just try to lift each other up and just seek God first, praising and worshiping on our way to the hospital, praying with my mom as she laid in the hospital bed unconscious, all of her friends and family coming, and us just praying and believing together that God would heal her, that she would see another day on this earth. Of course, that end up not being God's will, but that doesn't mean that God isn't good. A lot of times we want God's will to be what we want, what we see, what we desire, but at the end of the day, God is good, and His will may not always be what we want, but whether if we can see it or feel it or not, His will always be the best for us. I just remember after my mom passed, just being fully met with that decision, a fork in the road. Do I go back to how I was living? Do I go back to dabbling with weed? Do I go back to drinking heavy? Do I go back to, just the worldly life that I was living? Or do I just surrender and give myself to Christ? And as you can see, wearing the hat, if you've seen my channel before, I decided to fully give my life to Christ. And life has been great since then. I still have those emotions, I still have those feelings and those pains, like I told you. Sometimes I lay in bed till like 2 p.m. before I really get my day started. It's just hard for me at times, but I know God is with me, and I know God is carrying me and uplifting me through that time. And just thinking about where I came from, where He's brought me from, not only from where I was at in college feeling kind of lost, but to after the passing of my mom, to just leading me to start this YouTube channel, to just start filmmaking, start editing, just leading me to all these places and opening all these doors and opportunities for me that I never would have ever thought. I've always been a dreamer, I've always been ambitious, but like, it's different when you go from just working a job to fully believing in your gifts, fully believing in your abilities, and letting go, just giving God control. Right now, I just want to say I'm a living witness that there is hope after loss. Keep going. It's hard. It hurts. You'll cry many times, many nights. Those memories, that love that you had for the person you lost, will always be there. But God will get you through. And God's plan is always far beyond what we think. So I just want to encourage you out there, whoever you may be, whatever you may be going through, the grief and that pain that you're feeling, that's okay. Those emotions, that's okay. Just take time, process things, and try to make the decision to not give up, to keep going, to keep trying, and to let your life not end just because theirs did. I want to share this writing I had back in November last year around Thanksgiving time. The first without my mom, and also pretty fresh off her funeral. So my emotions and my feelings were pretty raw and, heavy at the time, but I hope this can help. So it goes like this. Loss of someone close to you is something that everyone experiences at some point of their life. For me, it was my mother on September 22nd, 2023. Unfortunately, as much as we do all that we can to avoid it and think it can never happen, life is unpredictable. When everything happened, I initially thought to myself, I don't know how I could come back from it. The family dynamic was broken and my life was forever altered. Everyone talks about the grief and sadness you experience, but no one talks about how to get past that. Through the emotional ups and downs, the twists and turns, the support you get when things first happen, to the slow dissipation of it all, you're eventually left with only yourself, your closest circle, and God. Ultimately, you have to make the decision to want to move forward. You have to force yourself to take these steps daily, little by little, or else you'll fall. It can easily be an anchor that keeps you down if you allow it to consume you, but we have to be stronger than that. Finding new avenues of joy and the willingness to allow yourself to feel happy again takes time. It's not just an external healing process, but also an internal healing process. Letting go of any guilt, shame, or regrets requires careful reflection. Thinking of the positives rather than all the negatives you feel during this time is the most valuable. Rediscovering life without that person can feel like a daunting task, whether that's trying new hobbies, visiting new places, or meeting new people. Each time it feels and becomes less daunting. However, no part of grief is a one-to-one linear journey, nor a short one. For a while you may feel healed and moving forward, but another day it could feel like you're right back at the beginning. Care, patience, and love to yourself is all you need to focus on. Some parts of the recovery may come easy, while other parts may require serious change. Adaptation to a new role or responsibilities is an integral part of the process as well. Your perspectives and appreciation for life will definitely be affected, but using that pain to propel ourselves forward in the life we still have to live is all we can do. Of course, that is much easier said than done, but I now realize that's what the greatest challenge of loss really is. How do we get back up? Your life doesn't end because theirs did. Keep going.